crisis in the Middle East is escalating. Iran has now expanded its retaliation. We're taking a live look here. This is actually at Tel Aviv, where we know there have been missile strikes, often the dome, the so-called dome that they use to ward off those ballistic missiles, has been working, very active. We do know that one woman was killed in Tel Aviv and several others injured, but this crisis is expanding to several different countries all throughout the Middle East. We know that there was an update from the Pentagon this morning. One of the other major headlines, Robert, is that the number of fatalities for Americans has gone from 3 to 4, maybe more. What are you hearing this morning?
Well, yes, we're hearing the now at 4 dead, we believe all 4 in the same initial Iranian retaliation in Kuwait. Initially, we were told 3 were dead and 5 wounded. Our understanding is that one of the wounded has now died, hence the death toll is now at 4. And the president warned in a Truth Social post yesterday that when the death toll was at 3, that it will likely climb.
And we do have this new video in this morning that I do want to show. This is of, one of the $90 million F-15 aircrafts that falling to the ground, explosion. Then you see the parachutes. It looks like the pilots did get out alive. What's going on with this?
So Kuwait, by mistake, shot down 3 American F-15s, again, thinking this was an Iranian attack. This was as Iranian attacks were taking place, drone attacks, missile attacks, etc. And Kuwaiti forces, by mistake, shot down these 3 American F-15s. 6 of the crew members were able to safely eject. We're told that all 6 are in stable condition.
That's amazing.
It is.
That they were able to eject. I know I've seen some other videos over the weekend of those pilots sort of taking evasive maneuvers. This is a war. These aerial targeted strikes, as the Pentagon has described them. We know that the Ayatollah was killed over the weekend. That's confirmed. The instability in the region obviously is going to be a major focus. And we heard Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of War, Department of Defense, saying that this is not going to be a forever war. There's no real way to tell. We're in the 3rd day of this. And what did you take away from that press conference that happened this morning? About 8 o'clock?
Yeah, Pete Hegseth really hit back. We're about 58 hours into this campaign that started in the wee morning hours, our time, Saturday.
Right.
And Pete Hegseth really hit back at critics who are saying and are kind of re-bringing to light old tweets that private citizen Donald Trump had posted in 2013, 2014, vowing never to get into forever wars and criticizing Barack Obama for forever wars.
Essentially saying that if you start a war with Iran, you're trying to distract from other problems.
And now people are like, well, the chickens have come home to roost here. But be that as it may, Pete Hegseth kind of hit back against those critics and said, this is not going to be an endless war. We have very well-defined objectives here. Really, the biggest one is to prevent a nuclear weapon from coming to Iran.
Okay, so let's take a listen to that news conference from earlier.
To the media outlets and political left screaming endless wars, stop. This is not Iraq. This is not endless.
Okay, so that was a relatively short clip of the longer version of what he said there. But he did go a lot on what is a targeted strike, that this is not intended to be something that will be drawn out. But we do know that they're, with taking out the Ayatollah and the potential of not having someone else in there, that this is going to create instability, and that Iran has responded. They've blown up certain oil refineries in different parts of Qatar and Saudi Arabia. These things are not simple problems that are going to be solved.
Yeah, you can call it a targeted attack, but the law of unintended consequences can bring so many other players into this, and we've already seen Iran retaliate, not just in Israel. About 9 people were killed in an attack on a central city in Israel. Some people were taking shelter in a synagogue. Among the dead, were those who were taking shelter in that synagogue. But yes, there have been other places that Iran has hit as well. We talked about Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar, Oman, UAE. All of these nations could be drawn into this, and we haven't even talked about the economic implications. What does this do with the price of oil? Airline stocks, I just saw, are taking a major hit today because so many airlines are having to cancel or reroute flights. So this could have wide-ranging implications. The president says, he told the New York Times that he's anticipating maybe 4 or 5 weeks.
Optimistic,
but who knows?
And we were going to play this sound a little bit later, Gabriella, but let's play the sound from the, I think he's the general who was there, who's helped sort of laying out some
Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff?
Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, yes, exactly. So he spoke a little earlier. I mean, this is a 10-minute part of his update on where the things stand. So we're not going to play the full 10 minutes, but we'll play sort of the beginning of it. And he spoke right after Pete Hegseth spoke at about 8 o'clock this morning, the very latest information as we have it on the ground. Let's take a listen.
Warriors, and keep going. General Kane, over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary, and good morning, everyone. The purpose of my portion of the briefing today is to update you and the American people on the actions taken thus far. The briefing will discuss the preparation, the planning, setting the force, the early operations, and how we're assessing the progress thus far. So let's get started. On Saturday, 28 February at 01:15 Eastern Standard Time, 9:45 a.m. local Tehran time, on the orders of the President of the United States, U.S. Central Command, under the command of United States Navy Admiral Brad Cooper, commenced Operation Epic Fury. As I said, I'm going to walk you through the initial phases of the operation, but first, I want to express my deep condolences and the condolences of the Joint Force to the Department of War personnel killed and wounded in actions thus far. As the Secretary said, they're heroes and represent the best of our nation has to offer. They're true examples of what selfless service means. Our deepest and heartfelt condolences are with their families, their friends, and their units. We grieve with you, and we will never forget you. Additionally, I stand here before you today grateful for each service member, planner, logistician, operator across our joint force, for our Department of War civilians, our intelligence community teammates, our interagency teammates who continue to stand in harm's way alongside us. I am proud of all of you as you take the fight to the enemy, and we are the best in the world.
So we're hearing the Joint Chief there saying, the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs, so saying that, confirming the 4 dead, which is significant. The president has said there could be more.
And Dan Kane said that as well.
And obviously there is going to be fallout politically, because when you take military action like this, there are some on the left and even some on the right, Representative Tom Massey and Senator Rand Paul, who've said—
Ted Cruz also.
Oh, really? Ted Cruz. Okay, I didn't know that. Who've said that the president doesn't have the authority to start a war, in a sense, which is sort of what was happening here, depending on your perspective. So what do we know about the political fallout?
So tomorrow, the Trump administration is going to brief members of Congress, but already we know that some of our local lawmakers, Hakeem Jeffries, Chuck Schumer, want to introduce resolutions this week that would mandate the president getting authorization from Congress. The War Powers Resolution says that basically the president has to notify Congress within 48 hours, which doesn't sound like happened, and also has to go to Congress if the campaign drags out for more than 60 days.
More than 60 days.
Right.
And then you have
So
another
2 months.
30 days to pull out.
Correct.
Right?
So 90 days total from start to finish. But suffice it to say, there are plenty of Democratic critics and a few Republicans who say that the president overstepped his bounds in basically declaring war on Iran without going to them first.
All right, so let's take a listen. This is actually Connecticut Senator Chris Murphy who speaks first.
This is a disaster. It is illegal. And the president is obligated under the Constitution to come to Congress and ask for an authorization of military force.
The mothership of terrorism is sinking. The captain is dead. Well done, President Trump.
And so that's Senator Lindsey Graham speaking second, just as we sort of wrap up. part of the justification is twofold. One is Iran can't have a nuclear weapon, a threat to the region, a threat to allies in the region. We're going to take this action ahead of time. But then you also heard Pete Hegseth say that this is a response to decades of different attacks here or there. I mean, there are going to be people who are going to say that can't be a justification for a war now. The nuclear part of it, you could certainly make that argument. The other part, it really is going to depend on your perspective, how far you can stretch that part of the justification.
I think you said the most important word, now. Why now?
Mm-hmm.
Why did this attack have to happen now? A lot of people in the know say that there was no imminent threat that they know of. The president really didn't articulate an imminent threat.
I mean, a couple of months ago, they said that they obliterated the Iranian
Right.
nuclear program,
And
and
now
that it
how-
wouldn't come back for months and
Right.
months and months. And
Correct.
now they were a week away. So,
And how do you then have to go and destroy what you already called an obliterated nuclear program?
I'm sure we're going to hear all kinds of questions to that. But at this moment, the justification from the U.S. government laid out the total casualties so far up to 4, the number expected to increase. But the Pentagon says targeted strikes intended to bring things back in line in the Middle East.